We're gonna dive into a pretty chilling, true story today. It all went down in the Russian Far East, way back in 1997. It's a series of events that completely blurred the line between what we think of as animal instinct and something that looked a lot like cold, calculated revenge. It really makes you ask, what happens when we push an apex predator way, way too far?
Just let that sink in for a second. 48 hours. This single detail from the investigation file just sets the entire stage. This was not a random chance encounter in the woods. This was an ambush. And it all started because one man made a series of very, very bad decisions. Okay, so let's get into it. Our story kicks off on December 5th, 1997. A guy named Yuri Trush, who's the head of a local anti-poaching unit, gets a call to a remote cabin deep in the Primorye taiga. It's this vast, unforgiving wilderness. But this time, he's not investigating poachers. He's investigating a poacher who became the prey.
What they found at the scene was, well, it was just bizarre. This was clearly more personal than simple hunger. You had these circular tracks in the snow showing the tiger had been circling that cabin for a long, long time. The victim wasn't just killed, he was, and there's no easy way to say this, taken apart. And anything that carried his scent, his clothes, his mattress, even the floorboards, it was all shredded. It felt targeted. And Trush's whole team could feel it, that creepy sensation that the tiger was still out there, somewhere in the trees, watching them.
So to understand why a tiger would do something like this, with what seems like, malice, the investigators had to piece together the last few days of the victim, a poacher named Vladimir Markov. And what they uncovered was this just catastrophic sequence of errors that absolutely sealed his fate.
So here's how it all went down. Markov comes across the tiger with a fresh kill, a wild boar. And here's mistake number 1. He shoots it, wounding the animal. But he doesn't stop there. Mistake number 2, he steals its food. Now, for a predator living on the edge in a place like this, that's not just theft, it's a direct challenge to its very survival. So what does the tiger do? Wounded and hungry, it follows Markov's scent for 11 kilometers, all the way back to his cabin. And when it gets there, Markov shoots at it again.
You see, from a biological standpoint, this attack wasn't just about a stolen meal. For an apex predator to be wounded and have its food stolen, that is an existential threat. It's the kind of thing that can fundamentally change an animal's behavior and, maybe more importantly, how it perceives humans from that point on.
And this is really the central question of this whole incident, isn't it? The answer isn't that the animal is somehow evil. No, it lies in the incredible amount of physiological and psychological stress that humans can inflict on them. A desperate animal is a dangerous animal. It's as simple as that. Let's break this down, because it's super important. A healthy Amur tiger, the largest cat on the planet, wants absolutely nothing to do with people. We're not on the menu. But an injured tiger, that is a completely different creature. It can't hunt its normal prey, powerful animals like deer and wild boar. Suddenly, its entire world shrinks. Slower, easier targets start to look like a real possibility. And that human it used to avoid, now it represents either a threat that needs to be eliminated or, in the absolute worst-case scenario, a potential source of food.
And you have to understand, survival out there is unbelievably hard. I mean, even for a perfect hunter, like an Amur tiger, its success rate is only around 38%. Think about that. They fail more often than they succeed. So when Markov stole that wild boar, he wasn't just taking a single meal. He was stealing all the energy and resources from a hard-won, life-or-death victory.
After killing Markov, the tiger actually went on to kill a second man. At this point, the local administration declared it a direct and ongoing threat to human life. So Yuri Trush and his team were given a new, incredibly dangerous mission: track down and neutralize this man-eater.
And as they tracked the animal, one detail stood out. Its paw prints in the snow, they were uneven. The tiger was limping. This was the undeniable link. This was the proof connecting this killer animal directly back to that first violent encounter with the poacher, Vladimir Markov. This was his tiger.
The end came fast. A terrifying roar seemed to boom from everywhere at once, a classic ambush tactic meant to disorient them. And then, the tiger just burst from the trees, charging straight for Yuri Trush. His team fired 11 shots, but the animal's sheer momentum just carried it forward. It swiped at Trush's chest, and in an incredible stroke of luck, the blow was absorbed by his radio. As its jaws lunged for him, Trush managed to block them with his rifle. and only then did the mortally wounded tiger finally collapse.
So, the hunt was over. The local communities could finally breathe a sigh of relief. But for Yuri Trush and the other investigators, the most important part of the story was about to be revealed. The tiger's body held the final clues to its tragic transformation.
The autopsy told a really grim story. They found the 2 recent bullets from Markov's rifle, which confirmed he was the one who injured it. But that wasn't all. They also found multiple older bullets, healed over, buried deep inside the tiger's body. The tip of its tail was even missing. This wasn't the animal's first violent run-in with a poacher. Markov was just the last in a very long line.
And this reveals the most critical takeaway from this entire episode. This wasn't some monster born out of nature. This was a magnificent animal that had been shot, wounded, and harassed by humans probably its entire life. Its aggression was a learned response. We didn't just encounter a man-eater, we created one.
This one horrifying story really serves as a powerful lesson. It's not just about one tiger and one poacher. It's about the devastating impact of poaching and our huge responsibility to figure out how to coexist with these incredible predators whose territory we share.
The lessons here are crystal clear, and they could literally save a life. Yours or an animal's. Never ever approach a predator on its kill. That was Markov's first mistake. Don't surprise them, and if you do see one, whatever you do not run. It just triggers that prey response. But honestly, the most important protocol is the one we can all take part in, supporting the anti-poaching and conservation efforts that protect these animals from the pressures that create these conflicts to begin with.
Ultimately, a story like this forces us to totally re-examine what we mean when we use the term man-eater. We picture this monstrous, evil creature, but the evidence, time and again, shows it's hardly ever an animal's first choice. It is a behavior of last resort, a symptom of a problem that more often than not starts with us.
The tragic story of this Amur tiger really doesn't offer any easy answers. It just leaves us with this really complicated question, forcing us to look past our own primal fear and see this cycle of violence, where the lines between the aggressor and the victim, between man and beast, become terrifyingly blurred.